The new deck building set, Justice Hunters, just dropped a few days ago in the OCG. A day later, we got an OCG ban list that kind of balances the format out, and already we are seeing the huge impact those three new decks, Yummy, Canine, and Dragon Tail, are going to have on this format. Today, in this very special meta report, we're going to discuss these three decks, how they are built, how to play them, and kind of like what cards do you need to prepare in advance. This set has not even been announced in the TCG, but it's going to be the next deck building set, so you know it's going to come probably near the end of 2025. First of all, this is like, before anything else, sort of like a projected tier list after this format, and including the new Forbidden and Limited list with two of these decks on top, Yummy and Dragon Tail, and then a little bit behind Canine. I don't agree with this tier list, but it's cool to see that people are talking about it. If you need a refresher on the new Forbidden and Limited list, and what it kind of did is mainly impact Malice and Ryzel, which were the two best decks. Blue Eyes Orcust still up there, but essentially with Sword Ryzel Limited, with Dormouse, Grass, 7th Tachyon, which is actually a hindrance to the new Canine deck. Those hits are directly addressing the two most powerful decks that have been the most powerful decks since the last deck building set. I don't remember, Crossover Breakers. Yeah. So essentially, between two of these, right, they were impacting those two decks, Malice and Ryzel, for a long time, and those have been ruling the OCG with an iron fist, and now the plan is kind of to hit them so the new decks can shine. So which decks are we talking about, and which cards should you be prepared for? Now, I'm going to be accessing a lot of OCG Twitter, which is my favorite asset to know, just see the future. Like, do you have a tool to see the future? I mean, this is why I bring you to this YouTube channel and those types of videos, so you don't have to go and search. I'm going to be here for you to tell you the tale. And the tail is Dragon Tail. Wow, I can't believe I did that. So Dragon Tail, first of all, is the first archetype. This is a fusion archetype that revolves around fusing monsters from hand and field together. So we have basically the three starters, which gets you access to an additional monster. You have a monster that fuses as its own polymerization spell from the hand by discarding it. You have a few targets. When they hit the graveyard, you can set those Dragon Tail spells and traps from the deck. And then you have a searcher and a fusion spell, which is basically like branded fusion. But the difference is that you need to use monsters from hand to summon the Dragon Tail monsters, the fusion monsters that you see here. So it is sort of like a branded fusion, but you're still going to have to use cards from the hand, which means this deck is not a one-card combo deck. Also, this new Dark Karibo, which can protect your fusions, but most importantly, if it's sent as a fusion material to the graveyard, you can actually search polymerization in this deck, and this is why they play one. We're going to look at the combo in a second, and good cards in this deck are obviously going to be Mysterion, the Dragon Crown, which is getting a reprint in this set, Shadow cards, Guardian Chimera. Naturally, the side deck is pretty like meta-focused, and this is kind of what this deck does. Shout out to Yusha on Twitter. If you want to know ahead everything, like, this is your channel to look at. I mean, this Twitter channel is incredible. The combos are super well orchestrated. So you see now you need an additional monster in hand in order to start your combo. So it's not essentially a one-card combo, but you search for the fusion card, you discard it to fuse with another monster from the hand, and then when they're set to graveyard, basically they all set cards directly from the deck. And the fusion can actually bring back materials from the grave to the hand, any monster, so you can recycle your hand traps that you use to fusion summon, and the materials so you continue fusion summoning. This Grammel fusion can pop an additional card your opponent controls when your Dragon Tail card is activated. One of these is a spell negate, and the other is a draw. So essentially, you get a draw, spell negate, and a pop off of one card and one additional monster. So this is the gist of the deck. In my personal opinion, I mean, I know everybody's looking at this from a Malice angle, from a branded angle, of course. I think it's kind of different because this deck kind of wants to play hand traps, wants to play non-engine, but still, like, it's not insanely explosive with the first wave of support, especially compared to the other two archetypes, which in my opinion are pretty crazy. Yeah. And one of them essentially my personal favorite, this is the deck that I'm going to be investing in, is going to be K9. K9 is a level 5, rank 5 strategy with no cohesive like attribute or type. But the main thing here is a couple of things. One, again, no one-card combos. And I think this is a huge change that the OCG are starting to make in this set. No longer relying on one-card combos means, and you can see this in the deck building, that you need to play more engine, which means you play less non-engine, which is usually good. It's a good thing, right? So right here, you can see the K9 deck, which essentially is a rank 5 turbo to any rank 5 that you kind of want, as long as you have 2 level 5s on board. But another thing is that Izuna, the starter, is sort of like a Havness on your opponent's turn. So they all revolve around the fact that if your opponent activated a monster effect during this turn or during this main phase, you can gain an additional effect. So Izuna can summon herself as a quick effect from the hand if your opponent activated a monster effect. Essentially, what you can do in your opponent's turn, besides the setup you can do in your turn, is summon Izuna, which can send Lupus. Lupus can then summon itself from the grave, and then quick XCs into a rank 5, which could be one of your powerful K9 rank 5s, or something like Chronomaly Vimana, which is just a monster negate, which is really, really good. Now, additionally, there's a couple of cards here that you need to pay attention to. I would say that probably you have like Lancia here just as like something that you can draw into or search with Tachyon. You know, that's pretty basic. It's also a level 5. Blaster is a card released, I think it was either Phantom Nightmare or Legacy of Destruction. Essentially, free special summon once per turn, level 5. So, getting access to your extenders. Chaotic Elements is a card that we're going to talk about in the Alliance Insight video. It searches for your Dark, Aquas, and Pyros. This is a card originally designed for Testina, but it's going to be used in this deck as like the main starter. This is such a good card in this deck. 7 Tachyon, which is already limited by the ban list. And then some utility cards like DDD Marksman King Tell, which is just a generic rank 5 that you can put Deus Ex King over to get an additional interruption off. You have some, of course, very good 7 Tachyon targets, like, for example, Masquerade, and, of course, Umbral Horror, which is going to give you access to your level 5 Dark Monsters, and, of course, your engine cards. This deck is super fun. The game plan is just control and benefiting off the fact that your opponent is hand-trapping you or interrupting you or just playing on their turn, which is great. Now, playing on their turn is the second nature name of this new deck, which is called Yummy. We're going to see the combo in a second. This is kind of like revolutionizing tuners and synchro summoning altogether, like breaking everything up. So Yummy is a level 1 synchro tuner archetype. The whole gist is that for the Yummy synchros, which are going to be level 2 synchro tuners, you can use Link 1s as the tuner, right? So what you can do is summon any of these, right? This is Cupsy, I believe. It's going to add you one of the Yummy cards from deck. Then you can turn it into the Snatchy. Snatchy is going to grab you the field spell from the deck, which is going to be Minion. Minion is then going to summon back the Cupsy, and then you can use a Link 1 and the Cupsy to make a Synchro 2, where the Synchro 2 is going to let you add 2 additional cards, then discard a card. And the whole point of this deck is going to be the fact that you can dodge with the Synchros back quickly into the extra deck to summon the little guys that draw a card, pop cards, return cards, do all crazy stuff. And the Snatchy, which is going to add you and actually place the other field spell on the field in order to gain another interruption. So essentially, sort of like Ritual Beast mechanics, where you kind of like where you sort of like tag out as a quick effect, cost, tribute, bounce. Very annoying to play against. Now, they do play Obedience School here, which I think is for sure going to be reprinted in the set, so don't just buy it for like a really high price. But what they don't play here is actually the Sky Striker engine. Engage into Hornet Drones. Hornet Drones summon Kagari. Kagari bring back Hornet Drones, activate Hornet Drones, and you have a link 1 and a level 1 that you can just use to make your synchros and add 2 yummy cards from deck. So essentially, Engage is a 1-card starter for this combo, which is nuts, guys. It's nuts. This is going to be sort of like how it looks like. Again, big shout out to Yusha. So we have like an additional discard, right? And just 1 Cupsy. So Cupsy is going to go ahead and summon. Snatchy is going to place the field spell. Field spell is going to summon back. You're going to use these 2 to make the synchro that adds 2 and discards 1. Now, all of them can special summon themselves when you have either a synchro or a level 1. You use it for Metal Marcher, which if you want to play this deck, you should get now. It's still very, very cheap. It's probably going to get a reprint in the set, but if you want like an ultra rare copy, they're still very cheap. You can make a Herald, then you can make an additional synchro. Like all of this is just 1 card. Bring back 2. Then you can make something like IP Masquerade. Now, on your opponent's turn, right? Of course, you have your negates and everything else. Now, your synchros can just jump as cost into the extra deck, summon out the little guys. Now you can destroy. The field spell can interact with it. Snatchy can replace the field spell to get an additional interruption. Then you can quick synchro into more synchros, do the whole loop again. Very, very good resource loop, and actually just extremely, extremely powerful. Really cool deck. And yeah, this has been kind of the rundown of the new meta that's going to take place. It's definitely going to cause some changes in the OCG right now. And with the ban list and the immediate new set release with great, great archetypes right off the bat, like they've been killing it, kind of like overdoing it with the recent deck building set. So we'll see how that evolves. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to watch more of these types of videos, if this helps you learn and see into the future on what you should invest in, what you should start testing and looking into, make sure to drop a subscribe and like the video, turn on the bell for notifications to know when I go live or upload a video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.